Welcome back to Appalachian Dim Sum,
where our entertainment is our comfort food.
and this is episode 48.
Okay.
Okay. This is the coffee service for this month,
Yes. And
and
this was the month that was centering on
Evangelion.
Evangelion.
This, I feel like we've been talking about Evangelion forever.
Well, it's kind of like watching it.
Yeah,
After you watch it,
right.
you feel like you've been watching it forever.
Exactly. But with this coffee service, I decided we're going to do something a little different. And as such, I was thinking maybe we could call this like refreshments, maybe.
Yeah.
Um, Coffee's great, but if we do refreshments, that might make a little more sense if we do something that's not coffee.
Give us more reason to eat something.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I like that. But since we know Masato loves beer, I was really wanting to get some of this Yabisu beer, but it's not available.
It's not a real thing.
No, it exists.
Oh, it is.
It's just not available in the U.S.
Oh.
I would have to import it. Well, one, we didn't have enough time to import it, but two, every place I saw that did import, it was like $150. I'm like, I'm not paying that much for beer.
Nah.
So what I initially did is I just went to a local alcohol store, not like the ABC, but like I don't know what you would call them.
I didn't know there was another thing.
Oh yeah, well, it's like has craft beers and IPAs
okay.
and stuff like that. It's like actually a wine club. Anyway,
Like Jim's Liquor.
yeah, something like that. But it's just a local store, and I asked them if they had any Japanese beer, and they had this beer called Kirin. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Okay,
Is it mirin? Is the sweetened
it might be.
alcohol that you cook with?
I have no idea.
That's what I was like. Kirin. It's like,
Okay,
is that like cooking liquor?
yeah,
But no, that's not
Kirin
beer.
Ichiban. It uses only the most flavorful portion of the finest ingredients. First malt, or first pressed 100% malt. We did not try this because I looked a bit more into Yabisu, if that's how you pronounce it. And Yabisu is produced by the Sapporo company. And Sapporo has a beer in the US called Sapporo.
And I know it well.
I had never had it before.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm not a drinker anymore, but when I did, that was one of my two favorites that we always got. There's a German beer that's Edelweiss, like Hefe. It's like cloudy. That's amazing. But as far as just flavor and actually a beer that tastes good, because there's a lot that really don't. Sapporo is really good, and I think most of the time I've gotten that at like local sushi restaurants, and I don't remember if we've ever gotten it at the steakhouse thing here in Roanoke, the Kabuki. Is it still
That's
called
one
that?
of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can never remember. Been a while, but yeah, no, I love the fact that one it's in a giant can, and I don't know. It's not like a rice. I really don't
What is it
really
made
don't get
of?
into like researching beers.
Right.
I know sake and things are all off of they're a rice wine basically, or fermented rice, but I didn't know if that was a wheat or a rice based thing or what.
I
Got
really,
pictures of wheat on it,
it's
but
got pictures of wheat. I'm assuming it's wheat.
yeah. Yeah. Again, I don't pretend to be an expert on beer. I know the ones that I've had before that I like, and that is a very good one.
Now, I did find it interesting that Sapporo makes this beer. Like they make it here. This is not an import beer.
Yeah,
It's just the company is from Japan.
yeah.
And apparently they've bought a lot of like IPA companies and stuff like that. So they have a lot of other beers, but the Sapporo companies, like their flagship beer here in America is just Sapporo.
Hmm.
I thought it was all right. I'm not a huge beer drinker.
Uh,
When I do, it's usually something like a stout.
yeah,
So it's a lot different. It was
yeah,
filling. I was surprised at that.
yeah.
Usually beer is not that filling, but this beer was pretty filling.
I'm not enough of a connoisseur to even be able to discuss types of beers and brands and stuff. We'll go somewhere and try one. I've tried some reds and things like that, like
Mhm.
Irish Red and like Killian's, I think was a good one we used to drink when we were younger. And German restaurant up in just up 81 and was it Greenville? Just after you get out of Rockbridge County. of all places, next to this huge truck stop, there's like this little hole in the wall, like German cabin that serves like I think the family is from Germany. They
Oh,
serve
okay.
traditional German food, and they've
You
got
say it's
beer.
up 81?
Yeah,
Next time I head down to Richmond or
I want to say like 213 somewhere like
okay.
that on the exits on 81. But
I
it's
definitely
literally
want to go there then.
it's across the stoplight from a Love's truck stop.
Oh, nice.
That's
I've probably been to that truck stop.
that's the most like Virginia thing,
Yeah.
Appalachian thing ever. Have a little like authentic, real Black Forest German restaurant across from a
Across from
truck stop.
Love's. Well, give it a few years, it'll be a Bucky's.
But yeah, got into the Sapporo just
Mhm.
from I'll keep plugging local businesses here. Bingui, the sushi place out near Wild Wings.
Mhm.
It is that Tanglewood. Yeah, at Tanglewood. Um, Amazing daggone sushi place, and just tried that one time there and was like, oh wow. So that's how I research.
By trying.
I take bites of things. I'm like a shark. It's like, what's that taste like?
I did ask the internet how the Sapporo Premium compares to Yabisu, and they are different products. So the Sapporo, it says it's a light, crisp, easy drinking beer.
I see on that already that says that's a malt, right?
Yeah,
So that's a much thicker.
exactly. A thicker, richer premium lager.
Yeah, yeah.
So this Kirin beer might actually be closer
Yeah.
to Yabisu, but whatever. I enjoyed the
We'll,
Sapporo. I don't know if I'll ever
we'll,
have it again,
we'll
but it
save
was
that
fun.
for a later beer podcast
There you
that
go.
we haven't talked about doing and are not qualified to do.
That's like not qualified at all. But also we do still have coffee.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I think feel like I should be like a NASCAR thing, have advertisements all over myself. This
for all the
round
coffee.
this round is Bucky's coffee.
Yeah.
Be nice if I could say brought to you by any of these people, but
Right.
we're not there yet.
No, definitely not. A few 100,000 subscribers away. So
I'll take the corporate sponsorship before the subscribers.
right. But with this coffee service, since it is speaking about Evangelion, we decided that we're going to talk about giant robots. That's essentially what we're going to do.
It's a pretty narrow category.
It is. It is. We narrowed it down a little bit further.
I was going to say that's sarcastic.
Oh,
I could go into I could sit here and list like robot things that I've watched over the years and probably just list them for an hour.
oh, the number of robots that, especially in anime,
Uh,
that exist is there's a
I
lot of
started
them.
thinking, I think we talked about this a little bit before. Is like, do we talk about like, are we talking about mecha suits? Are we
Yeah.
talking about like just big robots? Are we talking about things that have pilots or things that are formed by other little robots? And like, there's 18 different categories that you could go into on this.
Right. And when I was putting together my list of like my favorite mecha, I was struck how similar they were. I almost took one of them away, but I just love the series so much. I was like, nope, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we decided to limit the choices to single or double pilot because there's Avas that are double pilot. So, but nothing that has like a whole crew.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of Gundam, no Macross. There's a Macross where it's like the machine is as big as a city, and no, don't do that. And
Yeah.
also, it needs to
Cutting
be
out like the things that are like just a big bodysuit
right.
size thing. Like,
Yeah, those two.
I think we were talking about like the loader from Aliens
Right.
or the whatever they're called in the Matrix, the things that defend
Yeah, the gunners. I don't know what you would call them. There's also a video game series called Titanfall that have really cool mech suit things, but they're kind of small, like tank size.
Yeah.
And cut those out.
Yeah.
It needs to be something that's multiple stories tall. That's
Yeah.
kind of what we were thinking, and generally human shaped.
Yeah.
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 But that
there's like categories of things that are I know existing properties that I've still never even seen. Like I think one of the first toys I had was, and I still don't even know if I even say this correctly, Mazinger or
Mazinger.
Mazinger.
Yeah.
I had toys of him, and then of course he was also in that line of Shogun Warriors things
Right.
that made my Godzilla that's back over here. that a friend of mine had. And again, had the toys, never saw the show. I know there's movies and shows and stuff that have that all through it. I've never seen any of that. And there's a ton of stuff. I guess there's just so much anime, so many properties and things like that that you kind of get to a point where it's just like I can't watch all of it.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of things I'd like to watch, but I watch too much as it is now, and I don't even touch some of the stuff that are things that you've never even seen. It's like I don't know if I want to try that because there's 300 episodes of it, and it's like do I really want to like waste an hour watching two and find out that I don't like it. And that's how my process is with stuff like that. And I'll waste 30 minutes debating whether or not I could watch it. I don't want to watch it. I could have watched an episode in the time I debate it.
And we also said no robots that come together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no Voltron, no Power Rangers.
I would have gone right back into Symbiotic Titan again because that's probably
Right.
still my favorite thing they've ever done. But I think I've talked about that before. Um, so we'll stay away from that one.
Yeah, maybe at some point we'll talk about those kind of robots. But
Yeah.
for now, we're getting large humanoid battle suit neck kind of things.
I guess at least the fact that there's so many properties to choose from probably does illustrate how popular of a category of things that has been for a long time.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, you're going back into the 60s on some of this, maybe even before that in some things, but I know some early Japanese animation was even late 60s, kind of took off in the 70s. And then it's before I was born on some of that, before you were born on most of that.
Yes.
So,
I just Gigantor apparently is widely considered the first mecha anime.
okay.
That was in 63.
60, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when you do a little bit of wiki research and stuff on anime and go back and realize how many things they actually did in the 60s.
Mhm.
I always think of it as sort of a 70s phenomenon.
Right.
They were doing it before we were aware of it.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was that the stuff in the 60s took about a decade to make its way west.
Yeah. Because I think some of it was done by like local studios, by
Right.
like things weren't corporatized in the 60s all the way at least, where local broadcast companies and things created some of their own products, some of their own shows and things. And I think that was the case in Japan. Some of those early things were made by like a studio that was based in like a city. So,
Yeah, they didn't have the benefit of large corporations gobbling up all the media.
yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Not on this episode, on the next one.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's get right into it. The first one is just my personal favorite concept of a large battle mech type thing is from Zone of the Enders. Now, this is a pretty small series actually. It started in 2001, and the way people found out about it was there was a demo disc of Zone of the Enders 1 in the Metal Gear Solid 2 game.
Okay.
And so people just, you buy the game, you get the demo disc, you try it out. I played that demo disc more than I played Metal Gear Solid 2. It was I fell in love. It's a very and one of the things I love about it is the style, the art style is very crisp. It's not real cluttered, and I think it really holds up to this day. There's Zone of the Enders, and then they had a second game called Zone of the Enders Second Runner. Both of these are on the PlayStation 2. And then the Fist of Mars was on the Game Boy Advance. And
I don't know that property. That's such a cool name.
yeah,
The Fist of Mars.
the Fist of Mars was a tactical top-down game. So it was completely different because the Zone of the Enders is you're controlling it's like an action shooter game, really.
Yeah.
You can imagine you're in space, you're in a giant robot. You get it.
Kind of a first person.
Third person. You see
You see yourself in front of it.
Yeah, you see yourself.
Gotcha.
Now there is a first person version of the second Zone of the Enders, the Fist of Mars. Zone of the Enders Mars, released on the PlayStation 4 in 2018, was a PSVR version. Very cool, but very disorienting because part of the orbital frames, that's what these are called, is they're very fast. They jet around really quickly. When you look at their design, one of the things I really like about them is their feet. They don't really have feet. Their feet, all of them kind of come to a point. And so if you're like close to the ground, the feet would etch into the ground like you're a skater. And it was just very fluid, very, very fun to just zip around.
Yeah.
Now the
I like it when somebody puts that kind of thought and detail into that. I think that's my attraction to the whole genre is that, we've talked about that some in Evangelion, how unnecessary it was with some of the scenes, like where the city was transforming into like a base and they
yeah,
were showing all these things. And it's like, man, somebody had to think about that for a long time.
a
The
lot of mechanical design.
mechanical design that was literally for like a couple seconds scene that actually had no bearing on the story at all. But it's like just I do kind of geek out on stuff like that.
There's a lot of that in anime from like the early mid '90s and the '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's you'll see it in some of the stuff I've got too, just like that, where there's design thoughts of it that nobody even realizes is there. Doesn't really need to be there, but somebody still went through the trouble to kind of work all that into the design of something. And
not to always talk about the MCU, but I think the fall off the MCU probably aligns pretty well with them going from like Iron Man's mechanical suit that like folds and has like gears and switches and stuff
oh,
to it just being like nanotech
yeah,
and it just like magically appears on them.
kind of
That's boring.
kind of like all of the other plot devices.
Yeah.
They're all nanotech.
Speaking of, well, let me go through the different properties for this, and I'll kind of get into like the idea behind the frames, the orbital frames. Um, there was also a 60-minute OVA called Zone of the Enders 2167 Idolo. It was just a film, and then they had a 26 episode Zone of the Enders Dolores I, and then that was about it. They had a soundtrack, but that's really it. And this was all in like the early 2000s.
But related at all to Metal Gear or no?
No, Zone of the Enders kind of they would like nod and wink to Metal Gear, and Metal Gear would nod and wink to them. But like, there's narratively, there's no connection there.
So what's the premise though? Is it like,
Okay, so the premise is I'll get to the next
or
frame
am I jumping
here.
ahead of you?
No, that's fine. So anyway, well, let me talk about this particular orbital
Yeah.
frame. This is a Jehuti. Love the name. And let's see. I actually did I look it up? Look up what Jehuti meant? No, I did not. Um, okay. One of the things I really like about the series is the very light lore that they put in everything. Like this character is Anubis, and they have a material that they all the orbital frames run off a material called Metatron,
Mhm.
which is like the chief angel that is he's the intermediary between God and man, essentially. The orbital frames, the Metatron that is used in the orbital frames I wrote it down here. Let's see. It acts as a sentient AI computer. It heals the mechs. It allows for subspace access so they can go from planet to planet. And it gives them like power up modes, which is great in video games. It kind of reminds me a lot of like the Spice in Dune, where it's like you're saying, it's like a just a plot device. Like,
Yeah.
well, we need this to do this. Oh, well, it's the Metatron. It's that material that we have. And
I love the fact that some people have a thing. It's like this is what the world is,
yeah,
and that's it. That's I mean, look at that's the design behind us.
Mhm.
Looks very Egyptian.
yeah. This one's specifically called Anubis, so it's
Yeah.
and they do kind of take names from uh, different religions and different cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think we learned in Evangelion that
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
try not to read too much into all of that because
No.
sometimes it's just because it sounds cool and it looks cool.
Now in this world there are like more. It's called arc jet engines. They're frames, but they're not powered by the Metatron, so they're not as capable as orbital frames.
Okay.
They're the fodder for the game, really. That's just who you fight. You kill them. And then boss battles are against other orbital frames. Now, the basic premise of Zone of the Enders is the Enders are people who have colonized Mars and they're on the outer rim of Jupiter. They're in orbit around Jupiter.
Mhm.
And then you have Earth. And Earth is they keep imposing more taxes. They keep imposing trade regulations. They don't allow them to make their own orbital frames. It's very much like colonial era ideas.
as we'll say, or modern day Virginia.
Or yeah, yeah. And so you're when you first start out, you actually play this kid that gets inside of Jehuti, and you're in between the Enders, which is called the Bahram, and the Earth forces. And you kind of have to like both of them want Jehuti, and because Jehuti is of course he's the best of all the orbital frames, and you have to air quotes decide on who you're going to side with. Of course, you side with the Enders
Yeah.
because they're the good guys. And that's really the premise for the entire series. It's a power struggle between the Outer Rim and the colonizers of or the colonial people who live on Mars and in Jupiter, and against Earth.
That's so many creators, studios, whatever, fail to realize that sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It's like you don't have to make 18 properties off of it. You can just have a simple idea and just make one movie or
Yeah.
one series instead of trying to turn it into a franchise.
That is one of the things I like a lot about Zone of the Enders is that it is. I would love more, but sometimes things are nice because they're limited.
I, of video games, again, I can't even step close to calling myself a gamer. Of the things I'll go back and play more than anything is still Last of Us, the first game, and Resident Evil 4. And I know there's a whole world of other stuff all around all of that. It's like I don't care. I like playing those. Those were right. And
Mm-hmm.
chances of y'all making other properties and doing other things with it is more likely you're just going to screw it up anyway. So just let me have what I enjoy, and I'll play it again.
The Last of Us actually took me like 3 times to get into. Like I started and I was like, okay. And then everybody seemed to love it, so I tried it again. And by the third time, I was just determined because people loved it so much. I was determined to understand why people liked it. Totally got it. Totally.
They named their character after me, so
So it's good enough.
that was an easy sell. Like here's an old guy that's kind of worn out and tired.
Mhm.
It's got the right name. Good. You sold it. I'm not a hard sell though. I buy one video game every 3 years. Probably coming up on my expiration date of where I should buy another one, but I think you gave me one, so that probably covers the next
That'll cover
years.
it. From what I've never played the Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but from what I understand, you could probably spend 3 years playing it. It's
Oh,
huge.
yeah,
It's a huge game.
yeah. I've watched my son played more stuff when he was still at home. Horizon
Mhm.
Zero Dawn. Is that right?
Yep.
That's the.
That thing's
I think I
getting
brought that
huge.
up in a previous show, and I actually gave you the name of like a comic book that was the wrong one. It was like Horizon something else.
Oh,
Infinite Horizon, I think is what I said.
oh,
That's a remake of the Odyssey.
oh, okay.
Horizon Zero Dawn is the dinosaur thing. I played some of the first one, and I didn't come close to doing all of the tasks and stuff. I just kind of played through the main storyline, and that took me all summer. And that was cool. I could see getting into that, and that's why I don't try to play very many video
Mhm.
games because I can see the addiction.
Oh yeah, and definitely. Well, speaking of addiction, your addiction, large lizards.
Yeah, when it comes to robots, I have a list of things that I like, but it's kind of all under Godzilla.
Mhm.
He's up here, everything else is down there, and you can't talk about robots without bringing in Mecha Godzilla. At least I can't. Um, but
Now you're gonna teach me some stuff here because I didn't know there were so many different versions of Mecha Godzilla.
there are, and it's kind of one of those things that I've watched the movies so randomly and out of order that I don't think even I realized how much was direct sequel and carry over from one movie to the next with some of the things
Mhm.
because I literally would watch a movie when I could get a copy of it, and half the time it was the middle piece of a 3-part series of movies and storyline and stuff like that. So I'm like with every other Godzilla property. I think you pointed it out that it's weird how the fan base of this actually likes it when they change stuff.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It seems like every other fan base, if they make a new movie and they change the lore, the fan base goes nuts and
Yeah.
they're upset about it. But
And
not with Godzilla. They're like,
Godzilla,
hey, something new. Yay.
Godzilla's like, you put a top hat on him. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, does it shoot things out of it? It's like, yeah, oh, cool.
What do you mean he's a huge guppy now? That's great.
Like his, yeah. I think Shin Godzilla is probably the biggest departure of them,
Hmm.
but still, that was still one of my favorites. So it's kind of hard to complain about it that way. But Mecha Godzilla actually didn't come along until kind of late in the process. Excuse me.
It says 1974 was that his
Yeah,
first. Okay. Yeah, that's a good 20 years
it was
after.
really about the tail end of that whole initial run of Godzilla movies where I think culture had kind of burned itself out on Godzilla because he kind of appeared in the last couple before they took a break for almost a decade. Um, but Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla was the 14th movie, 1974.
14th movie.
Yeah, it's the 14th in the series, so they had
Okay.
a lot of other stuff. And I think honestly, if you get the into the tall weeds and the thing, the studios were making less money with each movie as they went along, and creating these big monsters with more effects was
Hmm.
harder. And I think looking at like a mecha thing, it was a cheaper thing for them to do.
Okay.
And they had already seen, I had no idea this even existed until I was looking. There was this Mechani Kong or a Mecha Kong um, that happened in the 60s.
Mecha Kong.
Yeah. And that's
So
where
that
they
happened before Mecha Godzilla?
that's where they got the idea from.
Oh. Oh, wow. I've never seen this.
I haven't either. I kind of want to track it down. It looks campy and bad, so it's probably actually enjoyable. But we talked about some of the robot anime getting popular in the 60s and definitely by the early 70s, and that was kind of what kind of pushed them towards putting Mechagodzilla into their world was the emergence of all these like robot anime that came around in the 70s. But the
So Gigantor was in 1963, and Mecha Kong or Robot Kong was debuted on the King Kong show in
yeah, it
1966.
was in
They really
67,
hopped on
67.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like, I love this idea.
So that's actually where the original idea even came from. But that kind of paired with all the weaponry and all the stuff that they were doing in some of the robot anime. The first movie, it really is kind of goofy when you go back and look at the premise. There's aliens from the planet Simeon
Okay.
that are called Simeon, and they're basically just
Are they monkeys?
they're monkeys,
Oh, okay.
but they have human faces. But if you like fight one of them and tear their face off, there's a monkey underneath.
Okay.
They're from the third planet of the black hole, and of course they just want to conquer Earth.
Of course.
Um, the movie starts off with Godzilla's attacking Japan, and Gearus, one of the defenders of the Earth, the guy that looks like the little armadillo.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, he tries to fight it and just gets destroyed by it. And so real Godzilla shows up, and then people are like, "Why are there two Godzillas?" And he blows some of the skin off of this other Godzilla and reveals that there's a robot underneath, and that it's a creation from these simians that they sent to come down and pose as Godzilla and destroy Japan and make everybody think that it was Godzilla that was doing it because they knew that Godzilla would be a barrier to them taking over the Earth. So, but they both get like really hurt very badly. Um,
But Mecha Godzilla and Godzilla?
yeah,
Okay.
when they fight each other,
Hmm.
um, they go off to I won't get into all the story and get repaired. This is the same movie where they're introducing the idea of King Caesar to you. King Caesar is the big dog, half lion
Okay.
thing. That's I think it's like an Okinawan
I
lore.
was gonna ask what that thing was. It looks like a rabbit.
I think it's like an Okinawan like kind of based lore of sort of like a temple guard for
Okay.
like a dog temple thing. And there's a story with that kind of going through the whole thing too. But they eventually once they repair the simians repair this Mecha Godzilla and it comes back for them and Godzilla actually goes back to Monster Island. And this was when it's getting at the end of the 70s stuff and some of it was kind of campy. It just gets like hit by lightning a bunch of times to get rejuvenated and becomes like a giant electromagnet basically.
Okay. The science checks out.
They were gearing a lot of things at this point, I think, trying to attract more kids
Yeah.
into the franchise. But then they
That happens after 14
yeah, yeah,
or 14 films.
some movies are starting to kind of struggle to keep their fan base. I guess they're trying to expand into stuff, but they come back and the two of them pair up and fight him, and he tears the head off. That's basically how they defeat it because it's trying to like fly away, and because Godzilla turns himself into an electromagnet, he just like he just becomes a magnet and draws it in, and it sticks to him, and he holds it while King Caesar just kicks the crap out of it for a while, then they tear its head off.
Okay.
But the first iteration of him, I think it's the picture we have up. It's got rainbow beams that he shoots from his eyes. The fingers and toes are missiles. The head, and it does it in the movie, can spin, and it spins fast enough that it creates like a force field around him. So when Godzilla tries to attack him, he can actually shield it by making this little force field that's
Okay.
created by his head. And then he has a panel on his chest that fires the cross attack beam, is what they labeled.
I'm just imagining the writer room. Like, what else can he do? I'll spin his head around and make a force field.
That,
Sure.
that was where they started.
Yeah.
The,
I want to know the ideas that they said, no, that's too much.
no, they weren't afraid to go too much because that was the initial entry with it. Came right back into 1975 with the Terror of Mecha Godzilla, which we actually didn't get it here. I don't think it ever didn't hit a theater here until like 1978. So it
Oh,
actually been out for a while, but I guess you had to get a distribution company, and because
yeah, that was before 15 years ago, maybe. That was seemed to be kind of how it went. Yeah, they wait a couple years.
I think you even had to get that like with some of the early Ghibli stuff. I
Hmm.
think Disney
Yeah.
had to distribute it so we could even see it, which probably is some kind of union thing or something. Who knows? But um, basic storyline of the Terror of Mechagodzilla is there's a mad scientist who wants to destroy the world. He already controls Titanosaurus, which is this guy you see in the middle with the big fin on his head.
Okay.
He's just a dinosaur that lives down in the bottom of the ocean.
How does he control Titanosaurus?
Science.
Oh, okay. Good enough. Science.
But he's mad, just pure on full on mad scientist. He's already turned his daughter into a cyborg
Oh no.
because she got killed trying to help him experiment on something at some point. So the simians,
I don't know what I expected. I typed in the Terror of Mechagodzilla cyborg girl. I was expecting her to look like a robot. No, it's just there she is.
yeah, yeah. If you're an alien in a Japanese Godzilla movie from the 60s or 70s, you just put on sunglasses. And
Yeah,
you're an
there you
alien.
go.
That's what I love about stuff. You don't have to give me this huge world. It's like, oh yeah, we're from Planet X. I got sunglasses on. Deal with it. But the simians, because they got defeated in the first one, seek out the mad scientist to help rebuild Mechagodzilla. But they know that it can't be good enough to beat him by himself, so they link control of his cyborg or link control of Mechagodzilla to the cyborg daughter's brain so she can have superhuman intelligence to
Is
be
it
added to the.
is it supposed to be the same Mechagodzilla, like the same unit?
Yeah, it's repairing it,
Okay.
repairing the same one. But they needed human intelligence for it to be strong enough to fight Godzilla. So again, that's another sort of three guy fight: Titanosaurus and Mecha Godzilla 2. He tears the head off again. That's basically how he beats this thing.
That would be.
But inside this one, there's a smaller cyber brain, and it has like it's just like this
Oh,
little round thing, so it keeps fighting. Um, and the upgrades and stuff are powerful enough that Godzilla can't beat it. But the cyborg girl doesn't want to see the world destroyed, so she shoots herself, and that disables the Mecha Godzilla because it's linked to him or linked to her. Then he destroys it, and of course buries it in a trench, so it'll always be around for later.
at this point, I feel like the cadence and the kind of narratives that Mechagodzilla has is very similar to not in actual story beats, but alongside of like Jason Voorhees.
Oh yeah,
Like the kinds of it's like, oh well, we tore his head off, but then the next one it came back on, that kind of thing.
I love Mecha Godzilla. I've never claimed that they're Oscar-worthy
Oh
movies.
yeah. Sometimes you just want something that's fun.
I love this stuff, man. Sometimes the more ridiculous it is, the better it
Of
is.
course.
Some of them.
Well,
The,
it's nice when they understand that they can
oh
be
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's no different than some of the Star Trek things in the '60s and '70s that were just
Yeah.
as equally as silly. Just let people enjoy sci-fi fantasy. But
Absolutely.
the simians try to escape, and Godzilla blows up their ship, and I think that finally ends the whole line of simians on
The
Earth.
simian story is over.
Like I said, this one The upgrades to this one were it had jets on its feet. It
Nice.
could actually go up and go horizontal and
Okay.
fly like Mach 5, which still in a Godzilla movie studio was just around the room on a string with smoke coming out of its feet.
I really want to know. I looking at the picture. That's great. I really want to know if there was a person in the suit when it was flying around.
Oh no,
I'm assuming not.
no,
Yeah,
I'm
which is like a
completely.
big.
That was like hung by a string, and there was probably like the equivalent of a ceiling fan that just had it attached to it, was just flying it around. If you watch how like the flight of those things go in most of those movies, you can
It's on a ceiling fan, like you said.
they show like
Funny.
a short clip of it flying because if not, you're just going to see it fly around in a circle.
Mm,
Um, and they added the beam, the powerful beam from the inner brains. That was the upgrade it got. Um, it has the design had flamethrowers that would come out of its nostrils, but they never use it.
okay.
Never use it in a movie, but they actually went back in some video games with the same character in it, and that's something he can do in video games.
Okay.
The coolest thing, if you pull up like a schematic for the thing, you don't see it in the film at all. He has an internal automated missile factory so that he can keep making missiles during
Forever.
fights.
I love that detail. It's just like he makes them. That's fine.
It's like it's all down here in his waist, and it's like it's constantly
Mhm.
like a little assembly line where it's making missiles, and it feeds into his arms, and his arms are like belt fed like machine gun rounds that come down to his fingers, so he can just keep on shooting missiles. And it's like that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, where they add this detail in. Probably something that they hoped they could show probably when they originally were writing it,
Mhm.
and then they got into it's like, oh wow, it's like we've got like $5,000 left, we can't do that. Like let's just fly him around on string and we'll put some smoke on his feet
I
and
think I found the schematic you're talking about. There's also stuff being produced in his tail. It looks like that's great.
well that fed his feet. He could shoot him out of his toes.
Oh, okay. Shoot, those. Great.
They actually, I think I found it at some point. They're actually different missiles that shoot out of his toes and his hands. They're different caliber or something. I
Okay.
don't remember. But that's really the last time you see him for over 2 decades. And doesn't he, I think he picks up in some video games and stuff in between. Doesn't come back until Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla 2, which was in 1993.
Okay.
And when they say 2, it's not a sequel to those previous Mecha Godzilla movies. It was a sequel to 1991 versus King Ghidorah. So probably something in the labeling of those movies, translation didn't come across right or something like that. Or why they called it number 2. Or maybe they were just nodding to the fact that it was the second versus Mecha Godzilla movie. But
Uh,
direct sequel to 1991 versus King Ghidorah. Um, yeah, this is the story. I was trying to remember my notes. This is basically where they try to um, Terminator Godzilla.
does it come from the future?
They aliens that are in the future.
Different aliens.
Japan. Yeah, these are the Futurians.
Wonderful name. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, why,
It's
why,
it's like the Avatar material that is called unobtainium because it's hard to get.
why do more than you have to?
Futurians.
But it's the I think in the year 23 something, Japan has become like the global power and is subjugating the rest of the world or something like that. So they're coming back, and that's all because of Godzilla somehow. Spare me or excuse me for them not having all those details down because I have not watched that one for a little while.
You can hand wave some of it.
Yeah,
Eh.
something like that. But they come back. The whole lore of Godzilla, this is kind of where they lay out some of the stuff that actually comes back around to basically what happens in like -1 is that
Okay.
there's they call it like a Godzillasaurus, but like a monster that's on an island in World War II that steps in and saves the guys on the island from a U.S. assault
Hmm.
and gets wounded but stays on the island and then is radiated by the nuclear bombs the next year. And that's kind of coming back into that's what they're writing as the origin for Godzilla in this one. Um,
But Godzilla existed as like a large monster.
just like a leftover dinosaur that was
Okay.
still on a remote island that only got people on it because of all the island hopping battles in World War II kind of thing. But um,
Are there any? This is an aside because when I think of Godzilla, I think of the idea that he's like an iguana that gets irradiated. Is that is that just like from the American version
Yeah,
of? Okay,
yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Yeah, my we discussed this a year ago. My perspective of Godzilla is very narrowly on the American version, really.
The thing on this island was like very T-Rex-ish,
Okay,
but more lumbersome, bigger.
yeah,
Um,
God,
but
yeah, kind of like Shredder and the Super Shredder, Godzilla and Super Godzilla.
um, but they come back in time to get to stop that from happening, so that Godzilla's never created.
Okay,
But they're also have a nefarious thing. They bring like the little baby things that turn into Ghidorah, which are three different dragons that will morph into one and leave them on the island instead. So, removing Godzilla and replacing him with King Ghidorah was their whole plot, so that they could subjugate everybody. The future,
because they can control Ghidorah.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, Ghidorah.
Ghidorah is their monster
Ghidorah's
instead of Japan's monster.
I think the Futurians at this point used to the old Astro Monster Ghidorah stuff was from Planet X.
Okay.
That was the first kind of introduction of aliens bringing monsters down to Earth to try to take it over, and it's
I know it doesn't go this route, but I like the idea of different countries having their different monsters. It'd be
oh yeah,
like a Street Fighter World Championship kind of thing.
yeah. There's
Well,
there's a good idea.
yeah.
we get our notepad out and we can write a little bit when we're
There you
done.
go.
But
Oh ho.
the dinosaur that becomes Godzilla gets turned into it anyway because of a Russian sub radiates it.
Of course.
You can't change
It's
the future.
Terminator rules.
Yeah,
It's inevitable.
it is inevitable. Um, the Futurians, um,
I love that name.
they Godzilla like blows the head off of the Ghidorah that gets made when they fight. So they make it into a Mecha Ghidorah in
Okay.
this one.
So Ghidorah has three heads though, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I've got the Mecha one back there where
Mecha
it's got
Ghidorah.
it's got one or two real heads, and it's the rest of it's all robotics. So they basically just repaired. It's probably one of those metal figures,
So somewhere.
middle figure on metal shelf.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, cool. His metal wings. That's cool.
But the Mecha Ghidorah carries Godzilla out to sea. Godzilla destroys it, and then they fall down into the bottom of the ocean, and they show it at the end. He's still alive over the remains.
Totally.
You got
It might frustrate you that I keep thinking of like Jason Voorhees, but it's like the same kind of stuff.
so you can keep
Yeah,
on making movies.
that's great.
But let me make sure I'm caught up on where my picture is. I forget which one is which without looking. Yeah, this is the first one that's piloted.
Okay.
Um,
I was holding my tongue. I was gonna ask you at the end. I was like, do any of these have pilots?
I had to make sure which was which.
Okay.
The first two were not.
Right.
This introduces the idea of it being piloted. There's
Nice.
pilots in the chest. There's also the ship. There's a ship called a Garuda, and they fly around and kind of give support to it. And it eventually, you see in the picture, it attaches to Mecha Godzilla on his back, and its cannons flip over and become shoulder cannons.
That was on my mind. I was like, I've got to ask him what these wing things are.
And
It's that ship. Okay.
That makes him into Super Mecha Godzilla.
Super. Love it. Super Mecha Godzilla.
And when they
If
upgrade
it was
this-
made by a 90s production company in America, it'd be Super Mecha Godzilla Extreme.
you have a bandana or something.
That's right. Yeah.
The other upgrades, other than this thing being able to attach a huge ship to its back and have big cannons, was it basically had like police tasers in its arms. It could shoot cables out and electrocute Godzilla, which he does for like half the time that they're fighting.
That's his go-to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then its chest can absorb heat, and then it fires back what they call I think it was like a plasma grenade. So like they can absorb the heat ray from Godzilla, and then it'll shoot it back at him. So you kind of see that in the picture in the center.
I like the design. It's a cool design. It's a very 90s design.
I think people were like,
Thinking like,
they were like, that's cool, we like that. And
Mhm.
that kind of led to the next iteration, which is 2002.
okay.
That is Godzilla against the Mecha Godzilla. And this time they actually rename him Kiryu. Idea on this one is that they have the bones of the 1954 Godzilla that are fitted with mechanical parts. And this is created by Japan. There's no aliens involved in this.
So he's like a cyborg.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mechanical parts, they gave him the giant blue shoulder cannons, and he has arm cannons too. I've kind of already seen that picture, but there's like a blue thing that has cannons outside of where his hands are. He has a chest cannon that is a freeze ray
Okay.
because they know they're fighting Godzilla and they're having the cooling down.
Yeah.
Um, he actually has blades that come out. The first time I think they introduced any kind of like arm blades
Two,
that are electric.
2002, that was inspired by the Predator, probably.
Very much, very
Yeah.
well may have been. They are electric. So on top of being little stabby things, they can shock as well.
Cool.
And then he has a mouth, not a laser, a maser.
Maser.
A
What is a
maser.
maser?
I think it's like a
An amazing laser.
I think it's a radiation like laser beam or
Okay.
something. I'm not. I looked it up at some point and I don't remember.
Yeah.
But Godzilla's excuse me.
Godzilla Maser.
Godzilla's roar made them lose control of Kiru because there was still some sort of spirit of Godzilla in the remains of the bones and stuff they used. So when it actually heard Godzilla roar, they lost control of it in this one. So they had to excuse me.
It says a maser is a type of energy weapon similar but distinct from a laser. It used kinetic energy as well as laser energy to damage a target. I'm kind of thinking of the way that not Cyborg, Cyclops from X-Men, like it looks like it's a laser coming out of his face, out of his eyes,
Yeah,
but it's not. It's kinetic energy
yeah,
beams.
yeah.
Same idea. Yeah.
That's the same idea.
Yeah.
Like his brother is kinetic energy, but it's like he throws it from his arm.
Havoc, right?
Havoc, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
But they lose control of that one, and Godzilla has to end up fighting it to save Japan. Um, but that design and stuff was kind of reinvigorated interest back into Mechagodzilla and to the Godzilla franchise, so they came back pretty quickly with Tokyo SOS in 2003.
okay.
And
Now, are all these still suits?
yeah, these are still bodysuit guys.
Yeah, because the 2002 against Mechagodzilla looks. I mean, it looks like a toy.
Yeah, that might be a
That might
picture.
actually be a picture of a toy. Okay,
Yeah.
but it looks like it could have been like CG. Same with the 2003 one. That looks like it could be CG, but
Yeah.
that's cool that it's still a suit.
Suits with, I'm sure they were doing CG to
Oh, I'm
do
sure.
some of their
Yeah.
laser beams and
Oh,
things.
right. Yeah.
Um, it's the same thing. I think they kind of make the revelation halfway through this movie that Godzilla keeps coming back because of the skeleton that they built here around. But that's the design of that one. Just kind of upgraded version of the other one. Darker armor looking stuff.
Okay.
Just made it look more menacing. Not too many changes to that. And then, excuse me, in that one, he carries Godzilla out to sea again into an underwater trench, and that's
That's such a weird tactic. Let's take him home.
yeah, yeah. Let's just get him far away,
Yeah.
and then we'll have a couple years to rebuild until he comes back again. But
I would think if I was designing a Mecha Godzilla and I was a mad scientist, I would give him the jump jets, but he would take Godzilla to space
yeah,
and just kind of like let him go.
I think in this last one too, they had another like support ship, but it never attaches to him because he's already got all the stuff on him in this one. I forget what the name of the ship was in that one.
I like the idea of support vehicles for large robots for no other reason that it creates a sort of vulnerability. Sometimes with these large robots, you get into a situation. The orbital frames kind of have this where it's like they can do anything and they're super powerful, and it's well, you got to limit them somehow. I like that idea of separating the power.
But after Tokyo SOS, the 2003 one, he doesn't come back again until the Godzilla versus King Kong movie, and that's a completely different
Okay.
beast altogether. He is in the anime that they did on Netflix. I think you were asking about watching some of that.
Yeah, there's like three. Yeah, they're going away. I think there's like three.
I think the Mecha
movie.
Godzilla in that is actually like because Godzilla has basically become like a mountain range in that thing. He's so huge that the Mecha Godzilla is basically like a city.
Okay.
So it's not anything relatable to any of this. The only other robot they had, and it's that last picture that I added in there, was another thing they tried to work in, and I think I don't know, but I think he was just not popular for the reason, if you look at the picture of the next
The
guy.
next one. This was from.
They threw this in 1994's Space
Okay.
Godzilla movie.
That's supposed to be Godzilla?
No, that is
Oh.
Mogira. And it's another thing like the Japan Defense Force made that was like another robotic thing.
Okay.
And I think it was so
It was
kind
like
of
got a drill face.
goofy compared to the other design that people didn't like it.
Mm.
It was like a big flying sort of like drill type ship more than it was like a fighting robot.
Was Mogira an actual like creature at one point?
No, no, this was just design.
Okay, this is
This is like a
pure
G-Force design
giant
thing.
robot. Okay.
So they threw that in there in the middle of that whole stretch of movies, and I don't think it ever came back either because it looks like something you would have designed in the 60s instead of something in 1994.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, then his next appearance is that one in the Godzilla versus Kong that's all like kind of skeletal and mechanical looking and really cool design, but
The
different franchise, different studios, all that stuff.
the Mecha Godzillas that use like the remains of a Godzilla, do they ever like show like pieces of the mech falling apart and you see the bones and stuff?
No, I don't
Oh,
think
that'd be a
ever.
cool visual.
That would be cool to have like if some of the plating fall off and
Yeah.
just have like an arm.
Yeah. Just like yeah, just the bones and like maybe some sinew and
I
yeah.
think the closest that you get to that in those American in the King of Monsters, whatever they call the Warner Brothers
Yeah.
franchise, is that Mecha Godzilla is supposed to be being controlled by a guy who's in. They have like a skull of Ghidorah from
Okay.
the movie before that is all linked in, and that they're using the power of that skull to control the Mecha one, which is why it loses control because the whole idea of that is that King Ghidorah and Godzilla are two alphas that are fighting each other,
Yeah.
and when they get around each other, they lose.
That series really tried to hammer that idea home. It's like the alpha's got to fight.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason that Mecha lost control of it, or they lost control of it, and I do like the design of the Mecha and um, Godzilla versus Kong, but I've said it before. I just don't like that franchise of how much they diminish Godzilla in that. And
Yeah.
you had to make him weaker so that King Kong could actually participate in those movies have really just become King Kong movies with Godzilla in the background. Like, hey, here's don't
I'd
forget.
I'd really like to see because with the King Kong versus Godzilla, because they're both men in suits, like when they had it back in like the 70s or 80s or whatever,
Yeah.
they were the same size.
Yeah.
But I was kind of really hoping that we might see like Godzilla be Godzilla size and then King Kong be smaller but like more agile.
Yeah.
That instead of just being two lumbering giants throwing slow punches at each other.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to see.
Well, they've made Godzilla like look smaller and tried to make him faster.
Yeah.
If you watch him in 2014, even and how slow and stuff he lumbers in.
Well, I was going to mention that the first film, which was just what was it called? King of Monsters.
The first one was just Godzilla.
Oh, just Godzilla, yeah.
King of Monsters.
The one with Aaron Taylor Johnson, right?
Yeah.
That one, he's huge. He's like a mountain. He's slow and lumbering, and he's like a force of nature. And then like 3 or 4 movies later, he's running. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, second movie, he's running. They try to do that when he fights Ghidorah.
Okay, yeah.
And he's got all the ships behind him as he comes running in, and there's a big crash between the two. And
I haven't seen the latest one, but the shot from the trailer where it's just like King Kong and Godzilla, and Kong has like a Infinity Gauntlet looking thing on, and they're just hauling in. I'm assuming in the underground world. It went off, that series went off the rail.
The one that's going to follow it up is going to probably be worse. And I've seen they've got little teaser trailers out for already.
Is it?
And he's in like full like he. I was complaining about Man at Arms when we were talking about He-Man. He looks like Man at Arms. He's in like yellow armor and it's got claw things on, and it's going to be Space Godzilla is going to be the bad guy in that one.
I don't know if you remember this, but after the last Godzilla film, I joked with you about, hey, why they need to take it to the moon, and it was something I looked up some Godzilla villain or enemy that like has space, like they're from space. Which one is that?
Well, there's Gigan, the guy with the claws.
Okay.
Ghidorah is from space. Space Godzilla is them growing like a Godzilla clone.
Okay.
To come back, and he's like
Yeah.
It's kind of cool design. I like the old Space Godzilla movie because like he has to be powered by these crystals from the planet, so it's like Godzilla with crystals on his back, and when he comes down, like he has to plant crystals, and he stays.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
He's kind of stays in this like little thing that's surrounds him, so he's powered by them.
I I think I always assumed that that Godzilla was the space Godzilla wasn't a Godzilla.
Yeah, no, it's a aliens cloning him thing, and I like the design of that. It's I think that at least what I've seen from the teaser trailer is that it is they're at least going to proportion it right. He is massively bigger
Okay.
than Godzilla in the 1994 movie, and looks like they're at least trying to do that part right in this one. But again, it'll how you make King Kong and his little axe and
I mean,
million
if
dollar
King
suit.
Kong is going to space, he's gonna need a helmet.
Yeah, I think he's coming here.
Oh,
So
okay. No, they need to send him. They need to send King Kong and Godzilla to space.
wherever they keep fighting, the budget of that city's got to be going through the roof.
Right.
Keep tearing it up.
So, was there only ever one Mecha Godzilla that was piloted by like a person?
The first two were not, and everything after that was piloted.
Oh, okay. All
So
right.
the first the first one was just a robot, and like I said, the second one was the repaired one. It was kind of hooked to the cyborgs, I guess, kind of piloted. It was connected by the
Brain.
brain
Yeah.
to the girl that was a cyborg.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, the after that it was all pilots and stuff.
And do the pilots really matter beyond it's a human and
Not really.
they're in danger or whatever?
Usually it's they play like their little like patriotic Japan music and they go fight, and then like Godzilla starts to overheat everything. They're like, oh,
And
we're ready.
they might have a shot or two at some point where the pilots are like, oh,
Yeah,
hitting to the side.
they have to usually crawl out of it and escape before
Yeah.
Godzilla blows it up.
There you go.
Lots of iterations from start to finish. It'd be cooler to have seen some of the early things have more budget,
Mhm.
but it was fun like it was. Like the old Mecha Godzilla, when he had his hands like this, anytime he wanted to shoot his missiles, he'd always put his hand out and it would like turn like that flat so he could shoot them.
Hmm.
I don't know if that was supposed to be what activated that or whatever, but just little things like that were things that I really got into when I was a kid. Don't think to date I've got a couple figures that I picked up here in the last couple of years. I don't think I ever even saw a Mecha Godzilla toy when I was a kid growing up, so it was just not a thing that ever got any attention here.
I think growing up in like the 80s, I think in 90s, I think I might have seen one.
But they used
It
it in
was
Japan
big. It was
as
large.
like kid shows and stuff. They're actually I don't know what it was called. They had him illustrated on a Japanese kid show as like Mecha Godzilla, and he wore like a suit,
Mhm.
and he was like cross-eyed.
Mhm.
But it was like the other monsters and stuff would have to come to his like game show and answer like math questions.
Okay.
I don't remember what else it was. I think there's a later one too. I think with that same figure where he wanted to be friends with them, and nobody ever wanted to play with him, and then it was sort of like a make friends with don't bully people
Right.
kind of thing. So they've used him with the kids stuff over there throughout the decades. It's just not been much of a thing here.
Well, it's definitely a marketable idea.
Yeah, yeah. And I think all the mech and robot anime mech culture was definitely a bigger thing there than it ever has been here. So
Well, the next one I want to talk about is Xenogears, kind of mech culture. Um, this is another video game. This came out on the original PlayStation, so it was actually before the orbital frames. And these are the ones I was thinking about not talking about this simply because as I was like writing it up, I was like, these are pretty similar,
yeah,
except like a game called Chrono Trigger. Like these are ancient machines. Like they find these things. They're in the world of Xenogears. They do build some, but for the most part, they find them. And they're powered by what's called a magnetic abnormal matter engine. And this gets into it. The engine fell to the planet when a biological computer, Zohar, which is controlled by someone called Katame, they destroy the spaceship that they were on called the Eldritch, and it like crashed to a planet and it seeded the planet, and then like civilization happened after that. And so the characters you play are thousands of years later, and you're trying to kill God essentially. That's essentially what the thing is. That's the basic premise of this. And the MAM, the MAM, controls all of the gears, like the power source. The one thing is the power source for all these gears. And so that's when you were talking about the separate ships from Mecha Godzilla, it kind of made me
Yeah.
think of this. And I like that. I think it's an interesting. It's an interesting concept, and in Xenogears, it almost lets you not really have to worry about explaining where they get their power from. They kind of use it as magic. It's like, well, there's all this. The MAM engine gives the gears their energy and also lets you do magic spells. Stuff
Am
like
I
that.
looking at the right game?
You are. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's almost like a better animated Zelda.
Yeah, it's a 3D world
Yeah.
with 2D character sprites, and it's by far my like favorite uh, stylized any RPGs.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't when I was younger, I didn't really care about like the whole chibi style where they have a character, then they make a short, squat version of that character. But Xenogears, they did the same thing, but something about the way the 2D sprites interacted and felt in the 3D world just
I love the
really got me.
the idea of like a mixed sort of like ancient or medieval
Mhm.
age culture that has access to like
Yeah,
mega robots. That's a
yeah.
like a lot.
The idea of like these are ancient things, and we're not hugely, we're not this technological society that can make them on our own, but we have them. It's very cool.
Like warring villages,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a robot against your robot.
And let's see. They're all humanoid robots. There are some that kind of look a little different, but for the most part, they're humanoid. I don't think there are any that transform. And one of the things I really loved about the video game Xenogears is where you have the characters you fight like any other RPG. Then there are times you're in the mechs and you fight in the mechs against other large mechs, but then there are times when you have a mech fighting beside small characters.
Yeah.
And it's just a wonderful
Yeah, that would be
visual
I,
for the game.
my brain could run with that for hours for scenarios of little old style forts and giant crossbows trying to take down the one big mech that the other village has, kind of thing.
Yep.
Did you ever see Kuromakuro?
No, I don't think so.
I think it was a Netflix thing. I was trying to remember, and I don't remember exactly where it landed. That it was an old like samurai that was piloting a mech, but I don't remember if like the mech was from ancient times,
Yeah.
or if it was just that he was from ancient times.
I mean, stylistically, it looks very similar.
Yeah, that's what made me think of that when
Yeah.
I was looking at the pictures, and it's kind of one of those things we watched, and I'm pretty sure it was a Netflix production, which means it's very possible that it didn't finish, or maybe it just isn't. It didn't get very many episodes or something. I don't remember the details, but that the images of Xenogears
Mhm.
immediately made me think of that, and kind of one of the reasons I didn't go into some of the anime mix. I think that's going to be a topic for me to go into when I've had time to go back into them some more. Maybe us do another look at those. That's some really. We watched a bunch of those close together, and I don't remember the differences between like Aldanoa Zero and Ice of Sidonia and Kuromakuro and things like that. Where basically, if we saw like an anime when the kids were watching anime, it's like it's got an accent. It's like let's watch it.
Right.
That I didn't keep track of them enough, or there were just too many of them at once for me to be able to sort them out.
Well, one of the tropes in a lot of anime, it seems like there's a lot of times there's one mech.
Yeah,
It's kind of like when you think of like Godzilla versus something.
yeah.
Battle Angel, is that what it's called? It was an anime.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. That's an older one.
No, not Battle Angel. That's let's see.
Frank School Stuff was telling me,
Oh yeah, Gurren Lagann. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
I know
Gurren,
Escaflowne.
Gurren Lagann is such high up on like my anime rankings and stuff. I don't even think of it as like being a mech thing. It's like it's 100% a mech thing. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's just, I guess the style of that one's so different that I don't ever lump it in with some of the other ones.
Hmm.
There was something Battle Angel, Battle Girls
Something.
that I remember he was telling me about, and I think maybe
Burst Angel. That's what it
that's it.
was. Burst Angel.
I think my son maybe tracked that down and saw some of it. I have not seen it.
Yeah. That's like the premise of that is they're like a security company and they have a mech. That's kind of what they get jobs. They go finish the job and they get paid.
Yeah,
It's fun enough.
they need to keep exploring those. There's so many anime I see right now when I flip through like Crunchyroll are all like wizards and that kind of stuff.
Isekai is really huge right now. It's like I died and I became a vending machine. It's okay.
Yeah, give me some robots.
Yeah.
I don't care about
I'm
some of that.
I enjoy the fantasy anime like Goblin Slayer.
Yeah,
Like give me a guy with a sword that's going to kill things. That's cool.
yeah.
But yeah, you don't really see in
Uh,
video games. It's a trope where it's like it's fantasy mixed with technology. You don't really. I feel like you don't really see a lot of that.
I feel like pre 2020 was like when they were doing some more recent mech things, and they really haven't had anything since then that
Yeah.
really stands out at least.
It's the isekai genre taking over everything.
Yeah,
There is kind of going along with the Xenogears. Xenogears turned into um, Xenosaga, like it's a spiritual successor, and then Xenosaga's spiritual successor is Xenoblade. It's this whole like kind of ongoing franchise, and there's a game called Xenoblade Chronicles X that I have not played, but I'm I need to play it. It's on my list of to get tos, but one of the it's an open world game and it's very similar to where in Xenogears where you could play like the character outside of the mech or you can go inside of the mech and fly around the world. And everybody who's played it seems to love it. And,
here's my knowledge of Xenoblade. I see that sworded anime shows all the time.
oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
The red sword with the
Yeah,
little
with the
circle.
hole in it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think I looked up at one point, what is that sword from? Because dealers that sell all those little phone things that sell swords had it,
Mhm.
and they saw people carrying it. And I'm like, what is that? That's as far as I got. It's like, oh, that's from Xenoblade.
And apparently the mechs from Xenoblade Chronicles X are called Skells. Skell. Okay. That's on my list for someday.
Yeah, I would love to be able to dive into mech video games, but I think I've got enough mech anime to try to watch it. I don't have enough time left on the planet to. I got to pick one or the other.
And we wanted to talk about also the probably the biggest Western mech property, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, a complete just callback to Godzilla type movies.
Yeah.
For me as an adult, that I mean, I thought the first one was a pretty good story, pretty well written, but it really would not have mattered. I didn't care. I was so hyped up about giant kaiju's and robot fighting. I was like, I'll go see this, whatever it is. I actually was surprised that, like I said, that it turned out to be a pretty good movie on its own. But that's I guess that whole premise is there's a rift in the bottom of the ocean that these kaiju are coming in from a different dimension, and the world basically had to do like you're talking about. If everybody had their own monster,
Yeah.
the world had to come up with their own Jaegers. Jaegers being these giant robots to fight them.
The great name.
Oh yeah, yeah, and the names of the robots themselves were awesome. The two that I noted for the show were the Gypsy Avenger, and that's the main one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's such a cool name.
Yeah.
And then I was asking you before, did you you have not seen the second movie,
No, I have not.
and Did you ever watch the anime?
I did not know there was an anime.
So you have not watched the anime. This second thing, the Obsidian Fury, I thought was the coolest design, and it was in the second movie. And my memory of the anime is so poor at this point because they started to kind of drift it off into this is about like some cult and not so much about robots, which is why I was watching it because I wanted to see robots.
So what
Uh,
the cult were like worshiping the kaiju?
yeah,
Okay.
but then like it was people that were like had powers of kaiju. They weren't even giving you like big kaiju all the time. And I was like,
Weird.
stop messing up shows, man. Just stick with what's good. But I cannot remember if Obsidian Fury was in the anime or not. It seemed like there was a antagonist robot that was kind of a mystery, not really sure who controlled it or what it was doing. Um, I may not be remembering that right, but a version of it showed up in the second movie. The
Now in the first movie, the Jaegers required two pilots,
yes,
and they changed that in the second movie, right?
uh, they for the most part still were doing two.
Oh, okay.
I think the
And it looks
the
like the anime. There's a pair of siblings that are.
yeah, and the one they found in the anime is awesome too. I cannot remember what its name was, but it was like the big blue and yellow one. And I think it was like maybe like one their parents piloted and then their parents disappeared or maybe got killed. I don't remember.
Atlas Destroyer.
Atlas Destroyer. These are names that if I sat around and had a couple weeks to like name things, I think there was like what Crimson Typhoon, Striker, Eureka.
Chaos Nemesis.
Yeah, man, it's just I think
Titan Redeemer.
there was
I like that they have first and last names.
there was one from Russia called Cherno Alpha,
Nice.
but the black one in the second movie ended up being like it was like controlled by kaiju. They had like a kaiju brain.
No.
Um, and I don't know if that was something that was working into the anime and just the anime just got nixed because Netflix doesn't know how to stick with anything for more than 12 episodes or what. But yeah, going back even without the fights between Obsidian Fury and Gypsy Avenger in the second movie are awesome.
Mm,
I mean, he's got like these big, you can see it in the picture. I think these are probably pictures of toys
I think so.
where he has these big like burning blades and um, Gypsy Avenger and the ones from the first movie, they can always create like a sword or
Mm.
they can change their hand into like a big plasma cannon and stuff like that. I think it's in the first one too. Is it the Crimson Typhoon? Is the one that has three arms and it has three pilots? And if it's like
Crimson Typhoon, yeah.
Japanese or Chinese or something, I forget.
Mark V Chinese Jaeger.
Yeah. So it was almost like a martial arts version of it. There's so much. I really don't understand how these kind of properties get introduced over here and like get fumbled the way that they do. It's like I've complained about Symbiotic Titan before and how they killed it, and they said it didn't have like the potential for toys. I'm like, what world are y'all? It's like it's all about toys. It's like how did they not ever make a line of toys for Pacific Rim of just vinyl robots and cheap, $15 vinyl Jaegers? Kids would have played with that to death. I mean, I would have bought some of those.
I mean, you would think like McFarlane Toys would have popped on that or something.
Yeah, I mean, again, for kids to play with them, just make them cheap.
Yeah.
Make them something that you can bang together and carry around in the car and drop. And if you drop it, you're not dropping a $70 collectible.
Yeah.
Just a
Well, it looks like Pacific Rim Uprising grossed 290 million worldwide on a 150 million production budget. So it's not like they weren't profitable. It's interesting.
yeah. And it was. I think they were. You could tell writing wise they maybe didn't really have a unified path on that story. It was a little too many different things happening. There was a girl that was making her own robot, and then she joined the force of people, and they had to go through the whole her being accepted by the other cadet guys, and then
That might be an issue with them trying to build a universe.
yeah, yeah. If you wanted to do thing with the girl, you should have done that as one property, and then if the rest of that movie was like they were making drones, and there was a corporation that was nefarious in that, and one of the guys from the first movie, what's his name? Charlie Day, the guy from
Yeah.
uh,
Always Sunny.
Always Sunny in
Hmm.
Philadelphia. It's basically become like the fish guy from the boys, where he's like in love with a Jaeger brain, or not a Jaeger brain, like a kaiju brain,
Yeah.
and he's helping them, and so they had a giant kaiju that came through in that, and they were kind of fighting the corporation, and they had the little thing. There was like three storylines. It was too much. That might be why they didn't really follow up with that. They could have split that into multiple stories and probably had something more attractive. But
Well, it looks like we're going to see more of Pacific Rim. Um, it looks like maybe there's a graphic novel series coming.
yeah, I was always assuming that the thing they did on Netflix was based off of an already existing graphic novel or anime or manga. Um, but it seems to me too that that was. I think that was kind of in that sort of computer generated anime style too,
Right.
which again, Netflix had a studio that was just doing that for a while, and I don't think it was universally beloved by any means.
It's Pacific Rim Final Breach is an upcoming three-part graphic novel series that's gonna like tell the story of Pacific Rim 3.
Eh, I can only hope that Hulu slash Fox slash Disney don't get their hands on it because they'll try to milk it for everything.
Hmm.
I think that was a Warner Brothers property before, wasn't it?
The Legendary Films who
Yeah, Legendary
distributes
is part
them.
of Warner.
Yeah.
Legendary is the same people that did the
So
American Godzilla
so
movies.
it's gonna be Netflix now, right? Isn't Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix?
I,
That's the last I heard.
I, my my paying attention to the news for the last couple weeks has been minimal. Like I turned on a thing this morning and it was like they're talking about like whether or not we're gonna like when we're gonna attack Iran or something. I'm like, wait,
Buddy.
why are we doing it? I remember hearing something about like the Paramount kind of stepping in to try to stop the Netflix thing,
Mhm.
and that they thought that that was gonna maybe go Paramount's way.
Okay.
Now, like Paramount was
Huh.
probably maybe able to buy it or something. I don't know.
I kind of want Apple to buy them. I think Apple would
Yeah,
be that they have enough capital to where they could hold a movie studio. They have Apple Plus, and the stuff I've seen on Apple Plus is really good.
yeah.
Pluribus, Severance, and they have. I think they have a knack for
Well, they've already got
good movies and shows.
they've got the MonsterVerse stuff there.
Universal,
Um, the
like that
Apple
stuff,
does.
like the Universal monsters that we're talking about.
No, the Godzilla MonsterVerse stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like
You're the series
what was that thing called? The Monarch Legend.
Monarch. Yeah, I completely forgot about that.
That all spun out of the Warner
Okay.
Brothers American stuff.
Okay.
They've got that there, so it would make sense that they would pick up the other Warner Brothers
Yeah.
parts of that and do it.
And I mean, really, when you think of like where would it feel right to have like Batman and Superman if it's exclusively on some streaming service? Apple feels right.
Apple, I could do Apple or Paramount. At this point, when you see Netflix or Disney, I'm just like, I don't want to see what y'all do.
It feels better than a lot of what Amazon is doing. Like Lord of the Rings show from Amazon, the people you buy toiletries from. I mean, come on.
There's been a couple Amazon. Amazon is good at doing like espionage, like military,
Mhm.
those kind of productions. I think Hobbits and Trolls or maybe somebody else. 'Cause I haven't seen them do fantasy well. There was another thing they did that was there's some other series, Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantasy thing that apparently they've kind of fumbled that all over the place too.
Who's making the Netflix is doing the new Chronicles of Narnia show. Okay.
Yeah, where
Well, then the last giant robot thing we're going to talk about is actually a lot like the Jaegers. It's the I don't even know what they're called. The machines from Robot Jocks. I mean, I always just called them Robot Jocks. Have you ever seen this film? The
no,
film from like the 90s.
not the Wolverine guy.
Wolverine guy.
That's Real Steel.
Real Steel, right. That's from like 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I have not seen Robot Jocks then.
No, this one, and I'm kind of using Robot Jocks as a Trojan horse because what I really wanted to put on this list, but it didn't really uh, fit into our categories, was like the Mech Warrior mechs, like the stuff from BattleTech, and there are some humanoid mechs from BattleTech, but as a property, they vary too much, I think, for what we were going for.
Yeah.
But the Robot Jocks very much feels like it would be a BattleTech mech, and it's very industrial, very mechanical. And inside is kind of like the Jaegers when you see the cockpit. They're standing, and they're standing on these little plates. And when they raise their feet off the plate, the mech's feet raise up, and they have almost like an exosuit that they strap themselves in, and they have like these gauntlets, and the gauntlets have like buttons and controllers on them, and the mech pretty much, or the machine pretty much mimics what they do inside of the cockpit.
Yeah. It says this is the world's been divided into two opposing superpowers, and each side represented by trained champions.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a nuclear holocaust, and it's decimated. And the beginning of the movie says war has been outlawed. It's like, I mean, is war legal now? I mean, but anyway, the idea is that they have in order to settle disputes between countries, they have these things, and they call them these big robots, and the robot jocks is like the pilot that represents the nation, and they just duke it out, and they everyone's agreed whoever wins these battles, they win the war. It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I think you would really enjoy it because it has almost like that 80s jank to the scale models. And yeah, you're looking at some of the pictures now.
Is that?
That looks like maybe something someone made.
I was gonna say that's really bad looking.
Yeah, no,
This other stuff looks
this
pretty
stuff
good.
is from the film. And the main character, his name is Achilles, which I thought was interesting because Achilles heel, what?
Yeah.
And one of the pictures we're looking at now is he's on his back. And I watched this again because I hadn't seen it since like 93 or 94 on Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, it's an 89
Yeah,
production.
yeah. And when I watched it again recently, I was uh, I was wondering when the robot jock falls and inside the cockpit the guy is on his back. I don't understand how they get up. Like in the movie, they kind of just show him kind of like move to the left and to the right, and then he's standing up.
Yeah, yeah.
But if like the plates are where his feet are, if that's how they understand when to lift you get what I'm saying. You got to suspend your disbelief a little
As we'll
bit.
say, if 1989 logistics.
Yeah. It was fine, but the idea of there being a regulated robot battle system, because like Godzilla and a lot of these other ones, they're fighting out in the open and in cities and stuff like this. And no, they actually go to like an arena
Yeah.
and duke it out. And a part of the narrative is Achilles in the beginning tries to save, because they have spectators, of course they do, and he tries to save some spectators because one of the other guys, uh, his fist like flies off of his jock and goes toward the audience, and Achilles tries to save him, and he does save him, but then he falls back and he kills like 300 people just because he falls on them. And so he has all these conflicting issues and these conflicting feelings about being a robot jock. His the other part is it kind of reminds me of Starship Troopers, because the other jocks that are training to be to pilot these large robots, there's this whole thing where they're genetically engineered humans without mothers and fathers kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so like the main female that's in there, she wants to do what Achilles does, and she wants to take over for him. It's a cool movie. I think especially for the time, and I really appreciate the special effects. I highly recommend it.
Is it worthy of a? Could it be remade and not screwed up?
I think it's fine the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs a remake. I really don't. Yeah.
See something when you get into that time frame of stuff, late mid 80s, late 80s, and it's like, man, that would that have been cooler with CG, or would it be better just like it was?
A part of the charm really is the fact that they're either miniatures or puppets or something like that.
Yeah,
That's a part of the charm.
yeah. I haven't seen it, so I haven't seen how they move. I don't. You can a lot of times tell pretty quickly if it's if they did it miniature or how they did stuff.
I was expecting it to look worse because, like I said, the first time I saw it was like in the early mid '90s, and I was expecting it to be cheesier. Viewing it now, but I really think it holds up.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that I like about some of the Godzilla stuff is that you look at it, it's like, oh, that's kind of goofy and that's kind of campy,
Right,
but they were taking themselves serious when they made it,
right.
and that's what I think that's the difference of being so cynical and sarcastic with so many things that they make now, where it's just not fun to watch because you just get tired of their attempts at comedy and stuff. That
Mhm.
sometimes the humor is that somebody they thought they were really making something profound, and it's like, well, that's really goofy, but it was fun.
The Any humor that's in Robot Jocks is like situational humor.
Yeah.
Like for example, at one point the woman who's in charge of the cloning program is talking to Achilles and like his manager, and she gives them both little vials, and she was like, well, while we're here, I could use some new specimens." And Achilles is like, I mean, could I just make a direct deposit? Okay, yeah. It's that kind of stuff. They don't go it's not like the Whedon-esque
Yeah.
irreverent humor.
Yeah.
I'm too cool for this kind of humor.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got to check that one. Where did you say that is? Or
Oh,
was it?
Pluto.
Oh, it's on Pluto.
Yeah, it's Pluto Tubi. Yeah, you watch it anywhere pretty much.
If I can find it on Tubi.
Yeah.
Pluto gets tiresome with
Ads.
it's not the spacing of the ads, it's just the fact that when the ads come back on Pluto, it's the same two every time,
Mhm.
all the way through the movie.
Mhm.
And by the time you've got that same ad the seventh time, you're like, man, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, I think it's also on Tubi. Hang on a second.
Usually, if it's on Pluto, it's on Tubi.
Yeah.
It seems like those two go together. I guess it's the dumping ground for anything that's free that nobody wants to pay for.
Yeah, it's free on Tubi.
Yeah.
And that looks like everything else. It says subscription, so I mean, it may be on Amazon.
I was
No,
gonna
MGM Plus subscription.
I was gonna throw it in and try to squeeze it in and watch it because I still have not seen it.
Mhm.
There's a Shin Ultraman, the same guy that did Shin Kamen Rider and Shin Godzilla, did all those at the same time. It is on Tubi, and I flipped it on. I was thinking, well, I'll watch this while I'm trying to get some other stuff done. But they only have it subtitled,
Okay.
so I could not.
Is Ultraman a robot?
Well, that was why I wanted to go back and watch and kind of see if he would qualify for this discussion or not, because it's in the old show. It's
Yeah, I
that
thought he was a dude that grew big.
he they he. It's like the aliens give him like this vial that he holds,
Mhm.
or this. I can't remember what the little thing is. He has to keep with him, and if he wants to turn, he's got to have it with him, and he just turns into a really big guy. So I don't think he would have qualified for the robot thing. I kind of wanted to go back and watch the newer interpretation of it and see what they. Because yeah, that picture of him doing that with his arms,
Yeah.
that's basically like he does that, and for some reason that lets him shoot lasers
Okay.
out of his eye. I can't remember if it's out of his eyes or his hand. But
I like that the image I'm looking at. I like that some of the versions it look like he has a half mask on and they just painted the rest of his chin silver.
well, I think I mentioned that before. Once they did Ultraman, they did a whole slew of spinoffs,
Yeah.
like Ultraman Tiger and Ultraman Vega, and like they're all different ones. And there's 30 or 40 different versions of Ultraman that are all linked together in the same universe. And I wanted to get back into that for more of the that 2000s, early 2000s era kaiju stuff because that's basically what he does. Is he just fights monsters all the time, and I wanted to. The monsters in the old series are pretty bad. They're 60s eras leftover Godzilla suits.
Right.
I wanted to see some of their new stuff because I just like I don't need story. Give me monsters and robots or giant people fighting, whether he's a person or a robot. I'm entertained.
Well, I think moving forward, we're probably going to be relegated to anime when it comes to large robots.
Yeah,
I'm not aware of any properties right now that's coming up that
they've
are live action.
they redid, and I didn't watch it because Netflix just they have to insert so many things into it, and it seemed like they were doing it already when they tried to bring back the Voltron thing.
Yeah,
I
that was a
watched
few years ago, wasn't it?
I watched 3 or 4 episodes of it, and they still hadn't even gotten to like making Voltron yet. And I was like, oh, I'm not into this. Sorry. Like you do have to kind of sell me something at some point if you want me to keep watching. That's the only property I could see somebody coming back to live action at some point. I mean, you've this summer we're going to see them farming He-Man. They've already tried GI Joe a couple times and failed. Um, I mean, really, they've done your Ninja Turtles multiple
Oh, they
times.
keep doing it. Ninja Turtles is probably the closest thing. It's funny. The closest thing I can think of to Godzilla, to where they reintroduce it and they change it completely.
Yeah,
Like there's really no canon Ninja Turtles anymore.
yeah,
They've even, as far back as like 2005 or 2006, kind of worked that into it to where it's like a multiverse situation where the different versions of Ninja Turtles will meet each other.
yeah, yeah. I'm lost on that kind of stuff when they start to.
Well,
That one movie everybody liked was like all three Spider-Man came back and they're all working together.
right.
I'm like,
Well, I am very happy as a fan of Ninja Turtles. I'm very happy looking at a particular version of Ninja Turtles and going like, it's not for me.
yeah,
The current version, the Seth Rogen version of Ninja Turtles, the Mutant Mayhem or whatever it's called, I'm like, that's not for me. That's for kids. That's fine. I'm fine with it being for kids.
yeah.
And what I'm looking at right now, I see you looking. I just Googled upcoming large robot films, and there's a movie called Heavens, the Boy and His Robot from 2024.
Hmm.
It looks amazing. I'm gonna have to check that out.
The trailer has got me sold.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here watching pew pew pew. I'm like, ooh, what's that?
I mean, it looks like they're in space and they're fighting, and yeah, that's gonna have to
All right,
that's
quick
gonna
question on
make me
Voltron.
wanna. Yeah,
Is your understanding of Voltron that it was actually pieced together parts of two other old animes? Did they ever actually?
no, that's Gundam, isn't it?
I always thought that was Voltron. I thought it was like a Lion Force and something else that they just repurposed. And I don't know how in the world they did it because I would see Voltron on, I don't know if it's on Fox and somebody else.
Oh, Okay, what you're right. It was Robotech, is what I was thinking of. Combined Super Dimension Fortress Macross and Southern Cross. Voltron adapted from Beast King Go Lion and Armored Fleet Diruger 15. All right.
I've seen like little bits of that and stuff. And when I was a kid, I don't know if it's on a cable thing or if it's on somebody else's. It was on somebody else's TV when I think maybe we'd see it when we were at a hotel when I was a
Mhm.
kid. And I was like, this is kind of cool. I've never seen anything like this. That's one of the few properties I'm surprised they haven't gone back and tried to raid. And if you would just do it and not change it at all, it'd be kind of a cool property to see because that is an awesome, it's an awesome idea.
I just can't imagine the audacity of the person who was probably a producer, who was in charge of these different anime properties, and they're like, just splice them together.
Just put them together.
It's fine.
Take the parts where they're talking on this one and just let that be. And then when they have to fight, just throw in the lions.
It's kind of like Power Rangers, because wasn't, at least in the beginning, it was like there was a Japanese Power Ranger series, and all the fighting parts were there as Power Rangers they kept from the original Japanese
I
show.
think so.
But then all of the parts where they're outside of their Power Rangers suits, they like refilmed it. At
Have
least
you?
that's my understanding.
You've seen this, haven't you?
Kung Pao, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where the whole movie
That's
is like him.
ridiculous.
He's just acting over
Yeah.
top of like old
Mhm.
martial arts films
Yeah.
in the background. So the fact that they actually spoofed that in 2002 means that was a practice that was out there
Yeah.
where people would just take somebody else's film and redub it.
Hmm.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
there's a ton of mech stuff I would get into going through, and I've got a bunch that I like to go back and watch. And now you found some stuff that I
And
need to go watch.
and you're right though. It's one of those things where if you try to uh, watch like the majority of mech stuff, it's too much to watch.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah, I'll stick with the king of my mech stuff is Mecha Godzilla for sure, and Pacific Rim was a nice recent update to give me something else in that kind of world to enjoy. And
It's a shame it never like put for a while, people were hoping Pacific Rim and Godzilla would like cross in some way. It's a shame they never figured that out. That
Yeah,
rift at the bottom of the Marianas Trench or wherever in Pacific Rim, that that makes enough sense.
he's been buried in trenches enough that all they would do is just disturb him,
Yep.
and then he could have gone and if he wanted to go typical Godzilla storyline, he would have come to town and everybody would have they would have sent a Jaeger out to fight him, and then they would have figured out that he was there to help them stop the other kaiju, and then they would team up. And I just wrote a $25 million movie for you.
I mean, we've had Mecha Godzilla fight alongside Godzilla, but we've never had like just a mech fighting alongside Godzilla. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. All right. Well, that's it for our discussion about some of our favorite mech type
yeah,
things.
yeah. If you want to get into checking out like the Mecha Godzilla stuff, and don't want to see the campy stuff, go to those the 2002 Against Mecha Godzilla and Tokyo SOS. Those are you can watch those straight up without seeing the other stuff. It's a good way to get into that, and that might get you into other Godzilla stuff, and you can go back and check out the older stuff afterwards. Or if you like campy stuff, just go straight back for the old ones.
And I would say that Zone of the Enders is a good series to get into, and it's a limited series, so you kind of know how much you got.
I've got to get that tabbed as a
And
thing for myself to
and
try to track down too.
and I wouldn't easily recommend someone get into the Xenogears series just because, like I said, there's Xenogears, Xenoblade, Xenosaga. I mean, there's literal hundreds of probably well into the thousand
And
of hours available
it's
to
not like
play.
you have to be willing to dive into some video game stuff too
Yeah,
to get into that. So
yeah,
it's a little easier to track down an
yeah.
hour and a
Watching
half,
anime is good enough.
hour and a half long movie or
Yeah.
10 episode anime,
Mhm.
something like that.
Well, if you are interested in Zone of the Enders anime, I'll let you borrow it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Alrighty. Well, the next episode we have is going to be our appetizers
yeah. For the
for
month of
the 14th month, which is March.
is that March?
March.
I was sitting here trying to think what month is it now?
So we'll see you then. Thanks, Joel. It's been fun.
All right, later.